IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. All right, just in time. I was caught off guard. The producer said start, and for a quarter of a second I wasn't ready, and that's because of a nose twitch that I've developed. It could be COVID, but I'm not going to take the vaccine, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm a man. Oh, I'm sort of not really a man, but somewhere 30% man. The point is, a pal of mine, I won't take his name because Kunal hates it when I say that. His nephew is about 25 years old and has just taken the jab because they use what we call jugaad in India, and you figure out ways why a 25-year-old can get it done. And I'm just saying, isn't that wrong? People keep saying wear the mask, and I'm one of those who keeps not wearing it. But I think this is a bigger crime. You're eating up the vaccine, you're breaking the line when you're the healthiest person in the world. A male in his 20s, an Indian male in his 20s. The only thing wrong with Indian male in his 20s is his personality. There's no reason to do anything else. So I think if you're in your 20s and you're an Indian male, don't take the vaccine. Wait your turn. I think it's a very unmanly thing to do. I'm really ashamed to say. The guy sitting next to me has also taken a vaccine, claiming he's got some medical family thing. His great aunt spent 1 year in a medical college or there's some connection. And I think that's wrong, Kaustubh. So say sorry in public. You should be shamed. They should be wearing a thing saying, I took the vaccine and I'm only 25. It's just unnecessary. Really.
If you love cricket, listen up. The Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast is here for you. Hosted by DJ, Varun, and me, Ashwin, we bring a fun, fresh fan's point of view to talking all things cricket. Sometimes it's just the three of us, sometimes we have guests, including current and former international cricketers. For new episodes every week, check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.
But now let me introduce my lovely guest who's far away in California, which means what time is it? You do the maths. It's
9:30.
I was going to tell you the time. I
didn't know for sure, so I'm helping you out.
Right? We do have clocks in India. They were all invented in the Vedic period, apparently, and then handed down to the rest of the world. So we're told. Alexandra Mysoor. What a lovely name. Alexandra. It's a very regal sounding name. And then Mysoor, which is perhaps the right pronunciation of Mysore.
Yes. Actually, I'm a Gujarati girl. My maiden name is Mehta, but my husband's last name is Mysoor.
Gujarati bolech. Thoru.
બધું બોલું છું. સારું છે, પણ મારી accent બહુ ખરાબ છે.
બીમારી થાય છે. I love the Gujarati accent with the American or British touch. Especially, it's just music. Actually, the language sounds beautiful, but with that extra lilt. It just sounds great. All the Indian languages, when you hear them in another sort of, it just, I don't know, you sort of recognize words, but the whole rhythm is all over the place sometimes. It's great. Let me not criticize what is a wonderful career. Alexandra Mysoor, let's introduce you fast. And one thing I never do is read out biodata, because that means you don't even spend 2 minutes researching and understanding who your wonderful guest is. Only an idiot, a moron, a man with no self-respect, an Indian male in his 20s would do something like that. Today's guest is Alexandra Mysoor. She hosts a show on Rukus. Is this pronounced Rukus?
Yeah, Rukus Ave Radio. You know you're on it too.
I am. Is it? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. At the same time. Okay. I am more familiar with the word that rhymes with Rukus and starts with F, because that's what people say to me all the time. The Alexandra Mysoor Show. And look at what all you've done. You're the founder. Let's just see, now that you told me you're Gujarati, it all makes sense. I was thinking that the entrepreneurship, now it all, because I was wondering, and we just discussed offline the YPO, and maybe sometimes 1 out of 20 don't work so hard, and maybe, it's all about inheritance. Alexandra Mysoor,
I didn't say that.
There was a third party on. I would never disrespect my colleagues. Alexandra Mysoor, founder and chairwoman of Mysoor Industries, which is an American multinational conglomerate, 3 words which will take me half an hour to say, involved in manufacturing, media trading, and investments. You're a self-made, why am I telling you? Why do I have to tell them? They know. Self-made entrepreneur, operating executive, having started your first company, a digital marketing agency, at just the age of 24. I'll just pause. What can you say? I can't deny it. Carry on. Wow, there's so much. You're also a world leader in luxury. The Alexandra Mysoor Group has deployed a business model marked by dynamic growth since its creation in just 2014. Okay. And Alexandra Mysoor Group cracked the code first with Par Avion tea. How did you do so much? Did you do all this on your own, really?
I did.
Wow.
I did.
And now I feel like such a failure. I won the
tea.
potato race at the age of 7. And there was like 3 potatoes and 2 of us. And you couldn't tell the difference between the potatoes and us. Oh, man.
Enough of the bio. I thought you said you don't
You're
read
feeling
them.
awkward. But then why did they give us so much? I think it's wrong if we don't read
It's fine. People get it. I'm an entrepreneur and now I'm trying to take over your job being a host of a show.
I haven't even come to that. We haven't finished the business achievements. The art sides is still to come. I mean, I don't think you'll have time to talk. By the time I finish, all this will be done. We'll just have to look at the plants. By the way, lovely plants. So you
Aren't
don't
they
believe
amazing?
It? Yeah, they're like
They're
big
real.
dogs. It's like you've got 2 Rottweilers.
That is literally called a money tree. You know when they say money doesn't grow on trees? This is literally called a money tree.
Wow. And what's that one called?
This is I think it's like a palm, a bamboo palm.
If it was in India, it would be called a GST tree, because if you have money, then you have to pay GST immediately. So we'd always keep them together. You guys have GST for a long time, or some version of that, don't you? Goods and services tax?
Oh, yeah, we do by state too. Yes, it's really annoying.
So we're not there you go. You're not the only person who's suffering. I said, we are not. Listen, can I just talk a little bit more? Because you've got so much stuff before we get into your show. You have a luxury home goods brand, which is on 5th Avenue, Saks Fifth Avenue. I wouldn't even go there. First, I went there for the wrong reason, because Indians, we pronounce it SEX. So everybody said, let's go there. Saks. I went there and it was just rich stuff. I got scared just looking at it. I can't pronounce Neiman Marcus. Harrods, of course, we know. Bloomingdale's, we know. So, I mean, this is very sophisticated brands and sophisticated customers. But during the pandemic, we must mention this, Ms. Mysoor was able to quickly mobilize an online pop-up grocery delivery service, Moo Cow Market. How sweet. To help struggling family farms. You want to tell us quickly about that?
Yeah, I mean, actually, during the pandemic, the thing is that the food supply system was really impacted. I mean, there's so many foods, especially here in the US, that were made for colleges, companies, they were all closed. And so all these small family farms were literally putting milk down the drain. Ooh. Meanwhile, there's so many hungry families. So we were able to collectively get this stuff and find a way to bring it to consumers who are willing to pay for it, and also help feed hungry families.
See how Indians look after third world countries like America? Nobody understands the work we do. I salute you. I hope you get a big award for this someday. I think they will. In your country, they do sort of recognize people, don't they? Here also, but you have to fill in a petition yourself and send it and then lobby, and it's a long process.
It's the same thing here.
It is. You have to buy your greatness. Yeah, so that's very incredible, because let's not forget you're an entrepreneur running many different flagships, and you still have time to do this on the side with the world suffering. But there's still more to come. You also got the Alexandra Mysoor Show, Hold for Music. Nothing came, which airs on Rukus Ave Radio, Dash Radio, Spotify, Amazon, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Akash Bharati. I just put that in case they want to put it on, because that's got a huge listenership.
It does? Okay, good. Put me on. And I have a YouTube channel. So if you're watching on YouTube.
I haven't promoted you enough.
Yeah, you haven't. You said you were going to stop.
Yes.
Keep going. I'm helping you.
Okay, YouTube channel is what? Because that's not mentioned here. What's that about?
So basically it's clips from the show. We have Padma Lakshmi, Sunita Williams, Mitali Raj.
Oh, all the Indian. Well, Sunita Williams is technically your Indian. Padma Lakshmi is
your Indian
England.
And am I Indian?
No, because it's not right. They're born and bred in another country and all that, of Indian descent, like you are, right? So, I mean, let's be fair. Mitali Raj is from Hyderabad and lives here and all that. So she's Indian. There's got to be a little distinction, right? Because you guys are American. You just look like us, but, better. But otherwise, it's a different experience. Culturally, you're American with Indian background, right? Is that fair to say or not?
I mean, it's fair to say.
Have I started an identity crisis now, and you're going to look inwards and say, "Oh God, who am I?"
No, I know who I am. No, I mean, obviously I had a different sort of life experience, but my grandparents and my family still live in India. Hopefully they're watching. And I've spent many summers there and things like that. So,
But then all of America's immigrants in that sense. So they can all look back and say the 10th generation back was in Scotland or whatever. So my point is that you guys are American. We're very proud of you and we claim Kamala Harris and everybody else for whatever reason. But the fact of the matter is, it's that culture which brought you up with a little bit of our culture, obviously, because your parents or grandparents were from here. Fair enough. I'm not just saying that because there are too many famous Desi Indians and they eat up Indian Indians. We don't have a platform left then, yaar. So can't you fight with the Americans and leave the Indian Indians because you're in between American Indians, not Native Americans, but American Indians and Indian Indians who are us Indians, you Desi Indians. Oh, labeling. That's our thing. Okay, now let's talk about the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that happen? I mean, you look like are you one of those people who just can't stop doing things? Because
Yeah.
you just gotta, yeah. This is a very strange human being who just, wherever they are in the world will just wear 20 hats and doesn't spend 1 minute relaxing.
But aren't you like that? You're like, you have a ton of shows. I was
No.
stalking your Instagram. You have some Netflix show coming up.
Yeah, look behind you. I'm like that plant, the lesser one of the two.
This one
that
of them
one.
is less. Which one? This one or this
No,
one?
that's the money plants. It's got something
Yeah,
going for him.
you
That
can't say
loser
anything
plant
bad.
in the background, the lonely old thing which is dying. And I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. It's looking lovely. It's looking. What plant is it?
No, don't be mean to my plant. You know, plants have feelings. They're scientific.
Do they really?
Yes.
So now we can't eat animals. We can't eat plants. What can we eat?
I read somewhere, which made me laugh to no end, that plants, if you chew them, somehow they can feel you
Oh no,
chewing
God,
them.
no. That's it.
Yeah.
We're finished. What are you
done.
saying? If
I
that's
don't
true,
know. I have to eat all the things. I don't understand. I don't know.
yeah, but then that leaves us with what? What's left?
Milk
But doesn't that hurt the cow?
or Paravian tea, you can drink tea.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's get back to the show. So why did you need to do a show? What was the reason? What was in your head?
Actually, it's funny. I was on someone else's show on the network, and she sort of made the introduction, and I felt like the pandemic had started, and I was just really interested in South Asian stories, being able to tell the stories of entrepreneurs, people that look like me, in sort of an exciting and compelling way. And I just felt like, you know what? We needed more females on air. I was coming after your job.
No, but yours is a racist show. It's only South Asian females. Mine is a little smaller niche. It's South Asian males with jobs. So, so is it only South Asian females? Because I read other male names
No,
here.
no, we've had lots of people. I mean, so far only South Asians, but we have male, female, and people.
Okay,
who don't
and
wanna
it started
say
with.
what gender.
So Milind Pant was the first guy, is it? CEO
No,
of
he
Amway.
was actually just on. He's the CEO of Amway, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, we've had so many interesting guests.
So tell us about a few interesting anecdotes of the interesting guests. To use the word interesting till people die.
Yeah.
I would love to know about Sunita Williams, for example.
Oh yeah,
What's she like?
she was and she talked about bringing samosas into space. She did not bring chutney. I did ask her that.
Ouch! What if it flies?
That's what she said. She said there's like crumbs everywhere, which is kind of weird. But no, she caught them all.
See, you can't take the Indian out of the Indian. You go there and make it unhygienic and dirty. It's unbelievable in space.
And she brought up chai. So she's having samosa and chai in space. She's a cooking fanatic. She was literally watching cooking shows in space. And my question to her was, isn't that kind of like upsetting because you're watching cooking shows, but you can't cook?
Question: how do they get Wi-Fi?
I asked her that. They do have some limited Wi-Fi, but the way that she got her cooking shows is she had them sort of saved on some discs.
All right,
Yes.
okay. In some way, so that she can play it. An old-fashioned VCR machine or something like God.
In
Amazing.
space. She has this incredible video on YouTube where she like goes through the space capsule, MTV Crib style, which, MTV, as you know, and
Unnecessary.
Yes, you're the OG. You're the OG.
I don't know what to do anymore with this generation. Ours was more like the Punjabi Bhangra. So yeah.
So that was really sort of interesting. And do you know that she won the Boston Marathon, but in space?
What? What
Yes.
does that mean?
It means that she ran on a treadmill in space. And she said that she had like a TV in front of her. And if you Google this, you can actually see the images where I guess she had the race or some pretend race. And I was like, what happens to your sweat? And she says it's actually really gross because you do sweat and the sweat people have to catch it.
Ah, wow.
Yeah. But can you imagine that her dad came from Gujarat, comes on a boat, then she like goes on a spaceship to space? That blows my mind. So, Gujaratis really are adventurous, to your point.
Yeah, fair enough. Also, she vowed no more boats, daddy. Fair enough. Yeah, but I just want to ask one thing. If she's in space and got so much on her plate, why does she have to go and do a marathon in the middle of that? I mean, that almost there's nothing to do.
Because we have to do 20 things. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
she's like you. She's from the same tribe completely.
I wish we
You know
had
what I hate
similar
about people like you? Because you're good at everything you do, and then you overachieve, and all the other people who are good at only one thing start getting dwarfed and diminished, Because then you come and say, okay, I can do the marathon. I mean, Sunita Williams in that case. And the guy who's actually winning, or the girl who's actually winning, is now suddenly pushed out of the limelight. She works so hard. That's all she can do. Couldn't hold a job. Her husband left her. The kids hate her. And all she could do was run, and you took that away from her. Because now you're a super astronaut who at the same time, simultaneously, you're doing rocket aeronautics and all that. And at the same time, you're winning a marathon. Who does that? That's really unfair.
I know, she's insane. And she told me that she brought up, her dad had sent with her the first time she went to space. Guess what book he sent with her?
The Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
See, I had to have an Indian touch. I was good.
See?
You
were so good. She did. It was really, really, really interesting. She's fascinating.
Now,
Mitali Raj, super embarrassing because she's an incredible person. And we totally bonded because she grew up learning classical Indian dance like me. But I was super embarrassed because I don't know a ton about cricket.
Oh.
But I didn't tell her until the end of the interview. And she gave me an entire lesson. So can you imagine? I got a lesson from Mitali Raj. Like, to me, that's like a life highlight.
But that happens to you only once. For me, it happens all the time. I have no idea what they're about. And I have to pretend. I've been doing this, I'm struggling with you right now, but you've been nice enough to tell me so many things. But let me tell you one thing. I remember there's a Australian cricketer, you probably wouldn't know him because you don't follow the game, called Matthew Hayden. And a friend of mine went to interview him, who's one of the rare Indian men in the whole country who doesn't follow cricket. And he apologized because it was a food show and Matthew Hayden was into food. And he said, look, my friend said, look, I don't know cricket. I know nothing about cricket. I know you're famous, but this is a food show. Hayden hugged him. He said, find an Indian male who doesn't like cricket so we can talk about anything else. I'm so happy.
That's so
maybe Mitali Raj may have felt the same thing.
Maybe that's why we became so friendly.
It's just it's so refreshing for them to find people who don't care enough about that damn game after some time. I think that this... I'm sure she must have liked that, all said and done, because otherwise it's always the same 5 questions. Oh, how did you manage? How did you become captain? How did you this? What's your favorite innings? Will you win the World Cup? Oh, come on. To answer them in my sleep, and I'm not even her. All right, you mentioned classical dancing, and then it says North Indian version. I didn't even know. I thought it was all like from the South, most of the classical dancing.
No.
What is it?
Well, I studied Kathak, so
for those who don't know, I of course know. It's from the North, right?
It is, and I saw that somebody on your show taught you a Tihai, didn't they?
Yes, she did. A famous RJ.
Would you like to recite it? Do you remember it?
No. I had to hide my head in shame after doing it because all the classical exponents across India were upset. How dare you disrespect the art form in that way? Okay, now let's see who else is there. Let's get some more in before we get these other people in to spoil our show. Oh, by the way, your 40 under 40 entrepreneurs, Huffington Post has named you as a top 40 under 40 entrepreneur. You've been featured in a lot of places: Forbes, Vogue, Refinery 29, which I have no idea about, but it sounds great, and TV appearances over the years. So what's with you? You have to keep reinventing yourself, doing different things at the same time?
Well, like Madonna, right? She kept reinventing herself.
She did. That's a fair example because she held her own for how many years?
Right? Although I don't know what's happened to her recently. I just haven't seen her.
Yeah, but from 1980 to 2010 at least, she was very much prominent. That's huge for a singer.
It is huge.
I think that's great. What has been the worst?
You're still reading from my bio? No, it's enough already.
I don't want to miss out anything really important because then too late and then we have, Silvery talks too much and then AMAs and between you and me, you talk a lot too. So, it's tough to fit in everything in. I want to talk about your family and stuff. We'll quickly get there. But you're also a BA from the University of California at Berkeley in interdisciplinary field studies. I just dying to ask you, what the hell does that mean?
Okay, here's the story. So I went into Berkeley pre-med. And
you're a pre-med?
I was pre-med.
And you dropped it?
Well, there's a story. Okay, honestly, I didn't become a doctor, so I dropped it because second year of college, there is this girl who was studying organic chemistry with me. I have never seen someone light up about organic chemistry. And I was like, I can't do this for 20 years. And basically Berkeley's like, well, we'll just help you create a new major so you don't have to start over. So that's basically what interdisciplinary studies is.
What? It's made up?
It's basically the interdisciplinary studies is you get to take classes from different disciplines within Berkeley.
Mix and match.
So I was interested in business. So I took classes in business and they fused it with neuroscience and they called it persuasion and, whatever. I have a degree from Berkeley, good enough. My parents were upset with me, but I think it worked out.
But then how did the entrepreneurship actually start? So you did that.
When I didn't want to become a doctor, my dad was obviously very upset and basically threatened to cut me off. So I was
Are
like,
you serious?
oh, yes. I'm sure he was just, he never got to that point, but I freaked out just enough that I went and I got a job because I actually thought he was going to cut me off. And the first job I got was doing public relations for a small company that we now know is called Google. And I also did stuff for Apple. And I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. But again, it was like the first job I got. So I took it. I didn't care. And one thing kind of led to another. And, that's how I got into entrepreneurship. I didn't ever go in thinking, I didn't even know what the word was yet. But I think being in Silicon Valley around that time, just like you can't help it.
Okay, awkward question. So when you started the first business, did you have money or not?
No, I didn't. In fact, my first business, I had to barter. So I didn't have any computer programming skills and I needed this. I started an online store and this was way before you could just get something out of the box like Shopify, Squarespace. So I knew how to do PR. I found these college kids that were trying to do a startup that needed help with getting press. So I said, I'll do that for you if you build me a website. And that's how I got things going, was just bartering, being resourceful. And
This is the good old Gujarati Indian Desi
Jugaad.
Jugaad. It's not exactly Jugaad. It's also inventive. Jugaad is a negative connotation to it. I think it's very positive. The Indian entrepreneurship spirit, which I think we do have. This is the one thing I am proud of.
For sure.
This and the fact that all my Gujarati friends, their hair is great. I don't know what that's all about.
What's going on here, right?
See, I've grown up with lots of Gujarati friends. I live in Walkeshwar, Mumbai, and all of them have good hair. I want to study that. It's a stereotype, but it's true. It's not untrue. And
it's the khichdi.
You think?
I think so.
You're not telling us the truth, but you don't want to share that. You want to laugh at us as we age. Ha ha! Non-Gujarati. You can tell. How come you were allowed to marry out then? That was cool.
To a South Indian, you mean?
Yeah, well, non-Gujarati. I presume that that thing would stay.
I think being raised in the U.S., my parents were thrilled I married someone Indian, but I have to say that they were really confused because South Indian and North Indians are really different. South Indians traditionally are very studious, and my parents, I love them, but they love to party. They love going out with their friends. And so, my father-in-law is literally a professor and a rocket scientist. And, it was different.
Wow. And what you're saying is socially different goals.
Different goals, yes.
But that's nice in a way also. Why do you want everybody to be the same? I think that's good. So one side is allowed.
My dad was really excited because he was like, now I can have idli dosa all the time. So,
Oh, so he thought. But tell me, did you have a big Indian wedding and stuff? I mean, how does it work?
I did have a big Indian wedding. It was really funny because I thought my wedding was pretty normal. But when I had, of course, my non-Indian friends come, they were like, wait, there's more? There's more? I was like, yeah, this is just like the pre-wedding. We put mehndi on, we dance around. There's it was pretty funny to watch that.
So how many functions were there?
I think there was 5 and mine was all across California. We got married on a beach. Then we had, of course, to blend North Indian and South Indian, we had to have a garba. So,
But then what happens to the more conservative in-law side with all this partying and sangeets and, all these events, so to speak?
They watched and they enjoyed it.
That's it. That's the beauty of the world. People have to learn to live together and not try to invade each other's cultural space. That's fine. Okay, so that's a lot of interesting stuff. A couple of questions I want to ask you because I've seen this show on Seema Auntie and the Desi experience. You've seen it, right? So what is the difference? What are Indian Desi men like? Are they different from us in personality and style? Oh, we don't have style, so.
You mean Desi men in America? Is that what you mean?
That's what we call them.
Yeah, that's what you call them.
Yeah.
Do you know I actually had Ankita Bansal, who was on the show, on my show. So that was interesting too. Do you remember
who was on the scene? Yeah, I remember her.
Yes.
She didn't get married in the end. She didn't.
Did anybody get married?
No, apparently most of them just broke out. That's what when it fell off or whatever the word is.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Yeah,
so they leave it in the show like it may go through and all that, but then it actually doesn't. So that they don't bother to tell us because they want happy ending.
I don't think anybody got together. Which what I don't understand is I don't know how that bodes well for Seema Auntie. Right?
It did because somebody looked at the result. She just became an overnight phenomenon. Now I don't know because they'll do their research and say, score to kya hai, as we say in India. There's no result. But she's a household name. Okay, she's like a cricket star or a film star.
She's
Everybody
amazing.
knows her.
Yeah. She's amazing. She's a great character. No, but they had that face reader on the show. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes. Fabulous.
Can we find him? Can you find him and put him on the show and then call me? I want him to read my face.
But he charges. He'll charge more.
To be on your show?
No, to read the face. Intercontinental charges will be even more. But come back to Ankita. What did she say?
Okay. Well, it was actually really interesting because while she didn't find love, she found a lot of customers because she's the one who had that clothing business. Mm-hmm. And so she got
because she became famous.
Well, I think she just got more attention. Yeah. And so her business took off. And so, I don't know.
So indirectly, actually great. So she doesn't get lumped with an Indian man. Instead, she got lots of clientele. I think that makes a lot more sense. All good.
Yeah.
Okay. No, so I was asking you, so what do you think of the Desi male before you were married? No, just tell us about them.
God, what do you want me to say? I don't know. They're similar, right? I would like to think, I don't know. What if you married
a foreigner? What would have happened then? Not foreigner for you, American.
Oh God, what would have happened?
Would your parents have been okay?
I think they'd subsequently have to be, I would like to think, but I don't know. The fact that they felt South India was so different, I can't even imagine.
So dad never said you can't marry X, Y, and Z. Never suggested.
Dad, do I want to out you? No, I don't know that he ever said it, but it was very clear. It was very clear that the expectation was to marry somebody Indian. And I think that I was cool with that. I wanted the big Indian wedding. I wanted someone who I could relate to with my culture. So I was okay with it.
All right, let's not probe any further. I sound like one of those gossipy aunties, Seema auntie's sister, Rima. I don't want to be Rima. We'll take a quick break and then we'll come back because lots more questions are coming in and Mr. Silvery wants to ask you questions. You see, everyone related to our podcast is living in penury and there's no good future for them. So when they find an entrepreneur who's done well, and actually you've done well all on your own, from what we can see, there's been no leg up. There's no one to help you. You even had some really strange degree, which you used to your advantage. So obviously you've always been the innovative sort of, and with good karma, touch wood, you've come where you've come. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll take some ridiculous AMA questions, which will bother you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week, Siet Tires and the Whole Truth Foods. We really appreciate your support. So, on Cyrus Says, Sagarika Ghost, journalist, columnist, author, discusses books she has written, her experiences from reporting about the Babri Masjid demolition back in the day, and the upcoming state election. Cyrus also had a great episode with Devdutt Patnaik last week. Do check that out. Chuck narrates an interesting story about a company that shared its virtual expertise with other companies and empowered the virtual world. No, we're not going to tell you what the brand is, but go check out The Origin of Things. And Chuck also came back on Simplified this week from episode 200 onwards. He's back. Go check that out if you haven't had a chance to do so far. The Habit Coach Ashton was joined by Sapna Gopal Krishnan, his co-trekker on Mount Kilimanjaro. They recollect the trek's memories and Sapna talks about the challenges she faced. On All Things Policy, Rachit Sheth talks to Sarthak Pradhan about Delhi's water crisis. This is due to the pollution of his major water source, the river Yamuna, and he discusses the case against the state of Haryana. We had Manish Dangi, Chief Investment Officer of the Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund, on Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. They discussed India's financial report card with reference to the past decade, the hits and misses, and what the future of investing is going to look like. And with that, let me get you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. Here he is. The break's almost over. In walks Silvery. Well, I love technology.
Hello, hi. How are you guys doing?
Good. You've got an accent, Silvery.
Yeah, I was 6 days in America.
You're taking it in. Are you one of those people that talks like the person you're talking to? Because I'm that way.
No, you're not. Your accent has remained yours.
Yeah,
we
that's
do it.
true.
We Indians do it. These Indians don't do it. Yeah.
Like a lot of I have a friend who can switch like on a dime. If he's talking to like an American friend, because he's studying in America, so he's talking to an American friend, he'll switch on a dime to an American accent. And then
that's
he's
the
talking to an
genuine
Indian
one,
friend.
Silvery. What about the guys like us in South Bombay who go for a weekend to Miami and come back with an accent? And then
That's actually the first question. Kashin Shetty asks the first question. Hello, CB and AM. What do you feel about Desi peeps who have a 6-day vacation in the US and come back with a heavy American accent? Is it rude to ask them to get a life?
I like the American accent. I'm fine with it. Do whatever you want.
No, it's not.
a fake
Nothing wrong.
accent.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, what's up, man? You know, it's a half accent.
Oh.
And it's my subcultural mixed accent. Yo, what? I suddenly roll R's. America. And then just, it's horrible. No,
Is that what it's like?
Yeah.
all around us. Us, Silvery, you don't know. We're talking about guys like us.
That's kind of weird. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, what is
Especially if you're dating or something, like people are gonna think you're weird. Don't do that.
It goes into the lack of belief in your own identity. We discussed it right in the beginning.
Exactly.
Which you don't have. That's why I said you're American, because you sound American, you look American, everything's American. But for us, we want to be this, then we want to be that, and so we meet people who want to be that. And that's almost like low self-esteem for a whole country. Can you believe it? I can change that. I believe.
Don't be colonized. Don't be colonized.
Yeah, but it's there because that's why it happens. It's obviously there. We can't deny it. We're just accepting it. It won't happen to you, like I said, because you're genuine accent. I mean, you're not an accent. That's who you are. Oh God, this is a ridiculous conversation. I apologize.
I feel like you have
I apologize.
accent envy. I feel like you have accent envy. You have envy.
Oh yeah, accent envy. Yeah, we do. That's right. Can we borrow it? We'll give you credit. That's a lovely term. Accent envy. Especially.
I did the head thing, so
you did the head thing. Do you do the head thing?
Sometimes.
It must have been there in the beginning and all that, but then, as you get more Americanized, I guess it stops. But yeah.
I bring it out.
Especially down south, it throws them off completely, the foreigners, because they don't know whether no is yes or yes is no. I think it's great fun. Yeah.
Like an H. I have a scratch.
Yeah. People should enjoy all that. That I don't mind. I just don't like the fact that we have to pick up that half accent. I don't get that at all.
The next one comes in from Rohan Dadina. That's his name. He says, hello, everyone. I'm a big fan of the podcast. And currently, I'm one of the few Bawas in China. So he's a Parsi living in China. That is.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he says, Cyrus has expressed interest in visiting China. Cyrus, you are most welcome to come here. I'll host you. His question is, who is that one person on both of your wish lists who you would love to interview and why?
Hey, Alexandra, do you know what Parsis are?
I know what Parsis are.
I don't know how distant you are from the Indian experience now.
No, I'm not distant at all. And happy belated Parsi New Year, right?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Navroz Mubarak.
Yes.
Yeah. Before we go to the question, how did you get the name Alexandra then?
What
happened to Niyati and Minoti and Falguni and all the names that I grew up with?
I know. I don't know. This is my name. What can I say?
It's a lovely name. Just not very Indian sounding, but that's fine. No, that's the wrong thing to say. It's Indian sounding. Let's leave it at that.
Why was I not invited to China? This guy's not inviting me to China. Just
he doesn't like the ladies. Look, there are only so many Parsis left. So he's saying we're safe in China. Come here. Obviously, there's a code going on there. Maybe he wants us to breed with the local populace, and then, there'll be more Chinese Parsis. There'll be a new tribe. Who knows? We'll have names like Chang Daruwala and all that. It'll be nice.
Okay, so dream guest. Okay, so this is like an unusual one, but I am obsessed with Madhuri Dixit. Like, obsessed.
Oh, wow.
Now?
I know.
Okay, growing up because of Tezab and all those big films.
But why
I
not?
just think,
It's like,
I
Cyrus,
just
you're still a fan of the Beatles, so she can
Yeah,
be a
but,
fan
but
of
I'm thinking
Beatles.
films, you sort of move on a little bit, right?
But I just feel like she's so interesting. Like who chucks their entire film career to get married to a guy, by the way,
That way.
Indian American guy, and moves not to Beverly Hills, not to Manhattan, not even to like, I don't know, to Miami. She moves to Colorado. Why? I have so many questions. Why are you moving to Colorado?
That's why she moved back.
Yes!
She didn't she didn't look at it. She didn't Google Colorado. She thought it was just like any other spot in America.
Yeah.
That she got this big desert with nobody out there and then came running back home. But that's interesting.
Legalized pot in Colorado. This thing. That's
They
what
did. They did. But they did in California too. So she's welcome to,
One second.
Yeah.
Are you all trying to tell me that poor Madhuri Dixit, as conservative as she must have been, went all the way to Colorado just to smoke pot?
Yep.
That's your consensus?
That's what I've heard, yes.
So the plastic surgeon was incidental. She went for the pot and picked him up on the way. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's
You
acceptable.
need a green card for the pot, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair enough. And then why did they come back? Because it's cheaper here.
Yeah, sure. That is true, yes.
How do you know? You should know that, young man.
No, I don't. I've been told in the comments, coming in the live chat, the prices is coming out right now. Yeah.
This is coming out. Oh,
No,
you'll
no,
get
they're not,
investigated. It should get investigated. The fact is that you have a comparative idea means you're like a PhD. It's one thing if you're a bit of a marijuana man in India, but the fact that you know the global prices, that's scary. I mean, it's like a marketing degree. How do you know that?
Okay, so I have a question since we're
Please.
talking about weed. Okay, I need to know: is it bhang? Is that the same thing as marijuana, or
Well,
is that different?
Not exactly, but it has apparently bhang has marijuana in it, right?
Yeah.
A little bit. It's like a mix and match thing, but it is there. You haven't had it, Alexandra? You haven't had bhang? You've not come back to India even once?
I have, but I haven't. What am I gonna do? Like,
No, like a
I'm
wedding
sorry.
or shadi or something. You just have to have a slightly naughty, silvery, like cousin or friend.
No one's offered me that. I don't know why. I feel offended
But-
now. Is that like a normal thing?
It's you look the other way with bhang. Nobody investigates bhang. It's a long story. Everything else is illegal, but bhang, if it's in our culture, even though it's exactly the same thing, it's legal. It's like that.
Yeah.
No one's ever offered me. So next time I come, please, someone offer.
Yeah,
it.
you have to come during Holi, which is banned right now, right?
Which is,
Silvery?
but I mean, yeah, it is banned right now. But Holi is just around the corner. I'm sure you can, if you find it, try to find it. I'm sure you'll find
She
it
has to
somewhere. back also.
quarantine. She'll miss Holi.
Yeah. This is California. We are like still locked down. It is bizarre.
Oh, are you lockdown? You can't go out?
I mean, no, we can go out. Even our lockdown, you can go out. It's just things are closed. They're starting to open up.
So you can't go to a cafe, for example?
We can sit outside now, but we can't go in and sit inside.
Okay, so the outside cafe is open.
Yeah, like
And you can have
outside
coffee.
is now open. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can even eat at a restaurant now outside, but not inside. Yeah.
So you're like the Garib experience in India, where the beggar stands outside the restaurant and you give him food on your way out, whatever you've packed. So it's like that. You see how third world the countries become silvery? They're not like us, advanced. Some look advanced, eh? See? She's not arguing
Well,
the
if you
point.
go to San Francisco, it is,
It
there's
is?
there's a homeless population. Yeah, it's like a big thing.
Homeless, not home something else. Because, okay, we won't go there. Leave it. I
No,
don't
we'll
excite
leave
my friend Silvery. You've mentioned two things close to his heart: marijuana and men. What a combo! Huh? Okay, next question, please.
All right. Next one comes in from Tarun Kaushik. We've already talked about this a bit. So his question is: do children born to Indian parents who migrated to Western countries / culturally different states feel a cultural struggle whether to follow the roots or blend with their present environment?
I don't think it's any different than if you were an Indian daughter in India who is sort of struggling with generational differences. I think it's really akin. It's probably more similar to that than you think. And I also think now the way America is, like there's so much awareness. I mean, there's like millions of Indian people in America, people. Like it's very different than, let's say, in the 80s too.
Well, growing up, would Alexandra be sort of, showing off her Indianness to her non-Indian friends or denying it? I think that's what he's vaguely trying to
that's such
say.
a great question. I think that's an interesting one. So I grew up in a state called Minnesota, which like there were literally like
No brown people.
Yeah, like no brown people. Okay. And I definitely was like oscillating between Hindu Mandir camp, doing Garba performances on the weekend, and then also at school trying to fit in with my non-Indian friends. And I akin that period of my time So the one Hindu temple that was in Minnesota literally, I think, sums up what my experience was when I was a small girl. The temple itself used to be a church. Okay. So the outside looks like a Christian church, but when you walk in, there's Krishna Murtis. It looks like full on Indian. And to me, that is like such a perfect metaphor of what it was like.
Outside, the Western, inside, Eastern.
Yes. Whereas now my son, who we live in Silicon Valley, and there are so many Asians, like I don't think he even thinks about it.
Also, India is more cool in this generation than it was perhaps in the 90s.
I mean, we have Kamala Harris, she's making dosa on Instagram with Mindy Kaling, and the world is flat, right? I mean, there's FaceTime. Look at us. We're hanging out. I'm friends with Mitali Raj. Hello.
And you hate cricket.
I hate it. All right. I just said I didn't know it, but I got a great lesson and now I'm a fan.
Hey, does your dad follow cricket back over the years?
Yes. And it's weird because, the games were at the most bizarre hours of all time. And that's when you had to do pay-per-view. So it was like a big deal, like huge deal. Everyone would come to somebody's house and yeah.
Oh, good. So that stayed, huh? See, these are the 3-4 Indian points: the films, the cricket, the food. I think they can, and the events, the sangeets and all, which have, which scare the hell out of the foreigners. I think basically because they look at cost to company immediately. 5 events, 6 events. That's the Indian bit for the foreigners. I was just thinking, because I've been to weddings, foreign weddings. It's just one thing. It's one thing, and like 40 people is like a big amount, and it's over in 2 hours. You hardly get anything to eat or drink. It's done. And I'm thinking,
I just don't think you can ever go back to any other wedding. I think every non-Indian person should have an Indian wedding because it's just way more fun.
Finally, we give them a complex. I'm so happy. It's like, but Dad, you should have seen Alexandra's wedding is still going on. She got married last year. All right, sorry. Let's get back to AMAs. Yeah.
All right. Next one comes from Siddharth Dabhowale. He says, okay, actually, this is for both. Do you have a dual personality when you speak on camera /podcast and individually? Some people are so natural, they are the same on mic and off. What about you?
So what you see is what you get, is what he's implying. I guess? I think you're exactly like you are now. That's what I think. I just think you're too perky to not be that. It can't be an act. You can tell basically when people are, putting on and they're over-interested, over-sincere and all that. So this is never 100% sure, but this is what I think. I think you are what you see is what you get.
Yeah, for better or worse, I truly am. This is me at all hours of the day.
You know what Bruce Lee said? One of the greatest men that ever lived. He said, you just have to be true to your art. And by being true to your art, it means you don't have to always think about anybody or anybody else. Whatever you are and whatever you do, just be true to that. Success or failure will come and go. You just have to be true to that. I think that's a huge lesson. And
I like your winning mantras. They're good mantras.
Bruce Lee was a great philosopher. People think he was just he was a great philosopher. He's a great mind. Yeah. And the girls say great body too, yaar. But what do I know, Silvari? I don't watch it for that, yaar. Okay, I do. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Silvari, you put on a little bit for us, man, for seniors. I feel it was fake respect.
I don't. It's not fake respect.
Not fake, but it's you with older people. You always, it's the Punjabi in you. It's the way you're brought up. You can't stop, right?
I can't switch off. Exactly.
We were brought up in a way where we have to stand up when the senior person enters the room. I still do that. I keep trying to stop myself because it's like sometimes so unnecessary because I'm nearly their age. Correct. You know what I mean? In your mind, you think you're younger, but you're no longer younger.
Exactly. Like till date, if I meet my friends' parents, I'll always touch their feet. And it's always weird.
Stand up, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird for my friends because they're like, dude, I don't touch my parents' feet. Why are you touching it? Because now there's an expectation that now my mother will be like, I'll go home like, dekho kya acha bacha hai, he touched my feet and all. Why can't you also touch my feet? So now it's like a whole thing. It's like getting top grades in an exam. Like your mother starts telling you, hey, he got top grades. Why can't you? Like he touched my feet. Why can't you touch mine?
Yeah.
So it's
have you touched Cyrus's feet lately?
I haven't met him in a while.
Yeah, but that's interesting. But otherwise, you think you are what you are? You are.
I'd like to think so. I definitely I'm not a good liar, so.
Yeah. No, I think I am. I am what I am because I just have two personalities. I'm either on or off. There's nothing in between. So it doesn't matter to me. While Kostobia is watching porn, while we're doing something interesting. All right, I know you like midgets.
With
stop it. Yeah. Alex, can you hear her? How can you hear her? Alexandra said with bang. So you're being a good Indian. He's promoting culture also. So I guess 50%. You get 50% for that. Sorry. God, she's worse than us, Silvery. What are you going to?
First of all, I have my own question. How did you get the name Cock and Bull for that show?
I'll take credit for that because I just told him, let's just call it Cock and Bull. We don't have a name. And we just talk rubbish on it. But we had so much fun the first time we did it because we were arguing like children. And then I realized that's the most fun in a podcast is just having an innocuous argument, but with passion over something ridiculous, whatever the hell it was. And then we have a good time. And I think when people get to know each other, they freewheel better for some reason. Although talking to a stranger is more fun when you're discussing things and finding out more about them, etc. Because you're genuinely interested. Sometimes you know the person, you don't want to talk about that. But freewheeling when you are on topics is more fun. Silvery now abuses and all. Before he wouldn't do that because older people were on the show. But now his MCBCs fly. No problem.
No, not at
But no, there's no double meaning in it. If that's what you were saying, naughty Alexandra. No double meaning.
You were talking about porn, not me. I'm just asking the question.
I was only stopping the young man. I mean, go and get a life, yaar. All right, moving on.
Okay, fine. We have one last one. Comes in from Kashin Shetty. He says, "Hi, Alexandra. As an entrepreneur, what has been your biggest challenge so far? Any advice for people who have ideas but don't know where to begin? And also, how easy is it to balance work and family?"
That's a good question. I should have asked it.
Great questions. Yeah. I think when you're an entrepreneur, there isn't a such thing as balance. It's just the truth. When you're trying and learning anything new, I mean, just think about any new skill you've learned. It's really immersive in that way. But what keeps you going is it doesn't feel like work. I mean, you have to be bizarrely optimistic to even want to be an entrepreneur because literally like 1,000 things go wrong on a daily basis. I mean, really, you're more of a fire put outer versus even being able to build anything. So for sure that, and I think I get this question a lot, like, I have great ideas. What do I do next? I mean, that's the $1 million question, right? A lot of people have great ideas. I think the next thing to do is just to do something. And that one next step will lead to the next step. And honestly, there's Google now. Literally, you can ask Google anything and you will find a pathway. And don't feel like reach out to people.
You're still doing PR for Google. You're fantastic. Just in case things crumble, she can go back because they love her now. Every 2 months, she's given them a fabulous citation. Amazing. Alexandra, what a story. Yeah, but let's ask you this then from the same point, which is, do you really have any time for yourself? I mean, it appears that you're wearing so many hats. I mean, you have a show on top of that. You've got a young kid to raise. You've got a husband. Yeah. So where's your Alexandra time and what do you do?
Well, I went back to Kathak, which has been really great and fantastic because that's like all for me. I play tennis. Obviously we can't do that much during pandemic to begin with, right? I mean, I watched a lot of Netflix.
Well, that's now. But when you're physically packed with the week and all that, you still have time to play tennis and go for dance class or whatever?
I think that's one of the gifts of, I think, the pandemic is it's allowed more space and allowed, I think for me even to really reevaluate, right? Like what's important to you. And until we had this stop in the planet, I think all of us were sort of going, thinking that that's what we're supposed to be doing, that you don't have time to stop. So actually for me, the stop is what allowed me to kind of reassess what I want to do with my time, but yeah, I mean, I definitely need more time to be lazy and maybe try bhang one day,
Is this what you got out of the podcast? Is this what you got out after 1 hour of chatting? You want to try bhang because that stupid young man next to me is propagating and the other young man there trying to act all, I love seniors.
You're corrupting this Guju
Yeah.
girl.
Well, before we let the Guju girl go, are mom and dad proud? Awkward question, but what do you think? Because you didn't do the medical thing. You didn't exactly go their route. You married a South Indian, which is like a 50%, when correct, and then you didn't exactly do that, whatever. So I'm saying today, the way you achieve so many things, you do so many things, what do you think?
I mean, they haven't said it, so.
Oh, shabash, beta.
No, not really, but I think they are. I'd like to think they are. I'm going to lie to myself and say they are. I mean, how could you not be? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, you've got so many. I mean, how can they not be, honestly? Anyway, we're proud of you, and we'll claim you. We claim all the successful Desi.
Claim it all. Yeah.
You go into the book.
I claim you, Cyrus. I claim you.
You can't claim me. Nobody claims me. I'm like gonorrhea. Nobody wants me. Don't be silly. Now you're laughing at the old man. Silvery, what am I touching the feet?
I'll still touch your feet even if you have gonorrhea. It's not a problem.
Yeah, if I get COVID, you'll get to touch it from up only. Don't worry. Yeah.
Social distance. Social distance.
We have too much. We're too overpopulated. This term doesn't work here. For us, social distance means you actually don't rub shoulders, but you're still close. That's it. We can't do anything. There's no hope for us. Say bye to the country. What can we do? Oh, the
That's
vaccine,
melodramatic.
but in America, what, like nearly 50% done? Vaccine-wise?
No, I think we've only had 100 million doses. We have 300 million people. And of the 100 million doses, I think they're counting some of that portion is the second. We have a 2-part vaccine.
Right,
here,
right. So do we.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they can make a little more money on the side. No, I'm not saying that.
And then, there's a booster shot coming supposedly next year.
What, this goes on for years? It's like EMIs?
Yeah.
Doesn't end? 25-year loan on my head? Every 2 months, come and give me a shot? What's happening to the world? Entrepreneur ji, kuch karo.
No idea. I have no idea.
Okay. Listen, this has been a wonderful chat. Thank you so much. I want to say bye to your plants. Both of them. They're lovely.
The money tree.
The money tree, which will grow and grow, I'm sure. And the Cyrus tree, which is already wilting.
We're going to name it. Should we name it Cyrus?
Name it Cyrus. Yeah. In the old days, that would have been a compliment. But now, I guess, that's it. I'm okay with it. Silvery, do you want to be named after something? There's some cotton wool also there.
But named after something or something be named after me?
That's what I meant.
I was wondering, I just realized that like nobody can name a star after me because my name is Antariksh. You can't have a star named Antariksh.
Because it's
like
star.
saying star.
Yeah, it's a star.
Star.
It's like, it's like,
But in
it's
Marathi-
like space star. It'll be, huh?
But in Marathi, they say it all the time, the same word twice. Lovely, lovely. Lovely, lovely. Good.
Yeah, but you can't have a
Space star.
Yeah, space star.
Space.
Yeah,
Same
nobody
thing.
can name. Yeah,
That's kind of true.
outer space
You could
star.
do like Elon Musk. Didn't he name one of his kids like some weird number?
Yeah,
All of
AI
them.
12.
All of them have
A12,
horrible
something.
names.
Yeah.
Thank God
No,
they're
I
super
don't
rich.
think all of them do. I thought just like the
One has a
younger-
number, but they all have strange. Nobody's called William. It's like
Yeah, that's true.
so. All your life you got to explain your name. Supposing nobody knows who he is. I mean, the whole Musk thing and all that.
XX, whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yeah. Which brings us back to Alexandra. How do they call you Alexandra? Did they go to Egypt? There's got to be some connection.
I know, but you had the history behind the name just before. You were saying something.
Yeah, I know. It's obviously the name comes from Alexander, but I'm just thinking there has to be some reason why they went with Alexandra. Aijo, Naam Cha Alexandra. It didn't happen like that. There's got to be a story. Now go back and find out so when we talk again, we'll have that whole story. Yeah.
All right, we'll do.
Okay. All right. Have a good one. It's late for you. Aren't you going to sleep? It's like 10:30 in the night.
You know,
Right.
I had to.
You've got businesses to run.
Yeah, I have things to do. I have the money tree to grow. Come on.
Wow. Unbelievable. I wish I had your drive, your success, your hair. I have none of that. Anyway, see you guys. Silvery.
You have to invite me to Cock and Bull because that is like what I thought
Silvery,
I was.
let's have a
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For sure.
But it'll spoil the look because we are 4 ugly men and then we have a pretty lady and then, I don't know. People will
You
expect
gotta
us
mix it up. You gotta mix it
but
up.
we go back to 4 ugly men after that and people will be like, where's the young lady? then our audience will be on bhang just to get through the show. Think about it. Yeah. All right. We leave you with this
Okay.
lovely visual of Silvery saying bye to older people. Bye, Silvery.
Bye, uncle. Thank you.
Bye.
Sorry.
Alexander, he called you uncle. Please say something.
Sure.
Bye, guys. Good night to Alexander. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps. Please, we beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
From uncensored and unfiltered chats with the who's who of the entertainment industry, I, Siddharth Kannan, bring your very heartcake chat show called Candid Kannan. Tune in every Friday on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Whether you're an established sports person or a budding one, or simply a sports enthusiast, join us, Tanvi and Shlok.
We are 2 passionate pro badminton players talking policy, mindset and everything sport.
So tune in to the Millennial Athlete every Monday.
Only on the IVM Podcast Network.
Trust us, it's gonna be lit.